Welcome to our 5 on 5. Pleased to be joined today by Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Great to be back in Southern Oregon.
Thank you for coming. So
you
and your hate crime task force are holding listening sessions in Portland, Eugene, and Medford. It's actually happening right now as we record this earlier in the afternoon.
Right.
Why is something like this necessary?
Unfortunately, hate crimes and other hate-motivated conduct is on the rise throughout the country, but actually we're getting our fair share, even more than our fair share here in Oregon. And I figured that out along with my staff a couple of years ago that it looked like it was on the rise. It has not changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. We realize the statistics are a little bit unclear as to how bad it is, but it looks like about a 17% increase here in Oregon just since 2016 in reported hate crimes, reported to the FBI.
Okay.
We feel we need to step up and eradicate hate in our state, do as much as we can. That's our goal.
Okay, is there any way to isolate kind of what we're seeing here in Southern Oregon?
Well, of course, it's a problem throughout the state. Nobody is immune. Southern Oregon isn't getting as many reports, frankly, of hate crimes as other parts of the state. For example, we were in Eugene last night. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's less hate in Southern Oregon. I wish I could tell you there was. But there have only been about 9 reported hate crimes in Southern Oregon in the past year. Or excuse me, that would be in 2017, since now we don't have the statistics yet completed for 2018. If in fact that's the extent of it, then you're doing well. But unfortunately, it could just mean that people don't know where to report. It could mean that they haven't seen services being provided, and therefore there's not an incentive. They don't think anything will happen. So there's lots of reasons why we may not be seeing accurate reporting. And that's one of the reasons that our task force exists, is to make recommendations to the legislature. One of the areas we're focusing on is data. We need better data because we don't really know for sure. It appears to be an increasingly bad problem.
Okay, and I was just about to ask you, what's next with this listening sessions, the 3 of them across the state?
Right.
You're meeting with hundreds of people. Where do we go with this information? We're going to the legislature.
We are. We had about 100 people in Portland and another maybe 65 or 70 in Eugene last night with some of the most heartbreaking stories of their experiences of being the targets of hate-motivated conduct. Where we're headed with this is we have a deadline of next week. As you know, the legislature is about to convene for this year's session, and we want to finalize our proposals, our tweaks to the law, our focus on victim services, and our focus on data collection. And we thought it best to hear from the community before we did that. We want to make sure that our proposals are going to work and that they are, in fact, what the communities need.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Much more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum. We're talking about the Hate Crime Task Force listening session you guys are holding. We're actually recording this early in the afternoon, so it's happening right now from 6 to 8 in Medford at the library. If people are unable to go, they might be able to still drive down and check it out. But if they're unable to go, can they still weigh in?
Absolutely. Of course, we'd love to have you come by if folks who are listening have the ability to get over to the library. I'd like to meet you, and I'd like to talk to you directly and personally about your experiences. But absolutely, you can still weigh in. You can send your written testimony to attorneygneral@doj.state.or.us. That's our email address. Or you can just look me up, Ellen Rosenblum, Oregon Attorney General. Be happy to accept what you have to tell us. We want to hear from you. And I'm a pretty good listener, so look forward, and reader. So if you want to send it that way, that's great too. Thank you so much for responding to us, because without you as in the listeners and the watchers tonight of this show, I don't think we can do as good a job in eradicating hate as we need to. Okay,
I do want to ask you, since you're here, you're obviously the head of the Oregon Department of Justice, but you guys work with a lot of the federal government officials, and there's a lot of law enforcement connections that you guys have.
Right.
Has the shutdown affected your department in any way?
You know, it's starting to. At first I thought, oh good, we're the state, we're not the feds, so it won't affect us, but it absolutely does. We receive a lot of federal money, for example. We have for various types of grants. Our crime victim services is one example of that, but also our child support program. And we have a child support office here in Medford. That's primarily a federal program. And we are worried that the impact is going to start to be seen. A couple of folks came from the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is the federal office, to our listening sessions, and they had to take personal time to do that.
Okay, well, we appreciate you taking the time to see us. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.